You are poor because you are a good person. You've been sold a sedative, a fairy tale that says if you work hard, follow the rules, and treat everyone with kindness, the universe will eventually cut you a check. You are waiting for a reward from karma that is never coming. Money is not a judge of character. It is a neutral form of energy. It doesn't care if you're honest, and it certainly doesn't care if you're nice. Money flows toward leverage, toward control, and toward those who understand the dark mechanics of human nature. While you are busy being the perfect employee, waiting for permission to be wealthy, the Machiavellian strategist is busy building a dam to divert the river of capital into his own reservoir. He understands what you are too afraid to admit. The economy is not a support group. It is a battlefield. And right now you are walking into a gunfight, holding a resume. I am going to hand you a weapon. But to hold it, you must drop the heavy baggage of your social conditioning. You have to stop wanting to be liked. You have to stop wanting to be fair. We are going to apply the ruthless, cold, efficient philosophy of Niccolo Machiavelli to your bank account. If you're tired of playing by rules that were designed to keep you small, you're in the right place. We're tearing down the good person trap and building a strategy for real power. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because once you see the strings, you can never go back to being a puppet. Phase 1. The Miser's Gambit. The Trap of Generosity. Why looking rich and being liked are the fastest ways to go broke. Machiavelli once noted that a prince who desires a reputation for generosity will eventually consume all his resources in the pursuit of applause. When those resources run dry, he is forced to become predatory, taxing his people to maintain the facade of his kindness. In the end, his attempt to be loved makes him hated. You are living this cycle every single day, but your kingdom is your bank account. You pay a likability tax that you never see on an invoice. It is the hidden cost of your desire to be seen as the person who always has their wallet open. You buy the round of drinks for people who wouldn't help you move a couch. You lease the vehicle that stretches your budget just to signal a status you haven't actually earned. You loan money to family members under the guise of helping, knowing deep down that you are actually buying their temporary approval. You are trading your future freedom for a momentary hit of social validation. In the Machiavellian economy, this is not virtue, it is a strategic defect. Every dollar you spend to look rich is a bullet you've removed from your own magazine. You are disarming yourself in a world that is inherently predatory. The good person believes that being generous creates a reservoir of goodwill they can tap into later. This is a lie. In reality, being the generous one only signals to the world that you are an easy resource to be harvested. You are not building a network, you are inviting parasites. To build power, you must adopt the miser's gambit. This requires you to embrace a reputation for being cold, tight, and even boring. While your peers are splitting dinner bills they can't afford, you are hoarding your capital in the dark. You must be ruthless with your resources, because those resources are your only true protection. When you are stingy during your accumulation phase, you aren't being greedy, you are building a fortress. People will call you cheap. They will stop inviting you to the dinners where the bill is split evenly among people who ordered salads and people who ordered steak. Let them. By the time they realize the game, you will have the capital to do great things, while they will be bankrupt and desperate, still chasing the approval of people who don't care about them. The miser is the only one who eventually becomes truly generous, because he is the only one who gains the power to actually change things. Everyone else is just a slave to their own ego. Stop trying to look like a king Become the king. Phase 2. Despise the free lunch. The debt of obligation. Why accepting favors creates psychological chains. Pay full price to stay free. In the cold calculus of power, nothing is more expensive than that which is given for free. Most people are wired to hunt for the discount, the hookup, or the favor, believing they have cheated the system. They think they have gained something for nothing. In reality, they have just signed a blank check with their autonomy as the collateral. When you accept a free lunch, you aren't a guest. You are a debtor. You have allowed a psychological hook to sink into your skin. And every time the person who helped you pulls the line, you will be forced to dance. Machiavelli and his modern disciples understood that the transaction is never actually over when the price is zero. It is merely deferred. By accepting a favor, you have entered into an unwritten, unspoken contract of gratitude. You are now weighed down by the heavy chains of obligation. When that person asks for a small favor in return, one that compromises your time, your values, or your capital, you will find it nearly impossible to say no. You have lost your most valuable asset, the ability to walk away. The wealthy man pays the full price not because he has money to waste, but because he refuses to be owned. He pays to keep the ledger clean. Consider the free entertainment of the modern world. You don't pay for the social media feed, the free games, or the endless content that fills your vision. Because you aren't paying with currency, you assume you are winning. But you are paying with your attention, your data, and your focus, the very raw materials you need to build your own empire. You are the product being harvested. The poor spend their lives clipping coupons to save $2 while wasting 3 hours of time that could have been used to generate thousands. They chase the bargain and miss the value. To break out of this lower-class psychology, you must develop a visceral disgust for the freebie. Tax your own ignorance. If you want a mentor's time, pay for it. If you want a seat at the table, buy the dinner. When you pay the full price, the transaction is closed. You owe no man a favor, and no man has a claim on your future. There is a psychological trigger known as sunk cost. When you invest your own hard-earned money into a skill or a tool, your brain forces you to extract every ounce of value from it to justify the expense. A free book gathers dust on the shelf. A $100 book is studied until the spine cracks. Stop being a vassal in someone else's court, surviving on their leftovers. Start paying for your freedom. Clear your social debts, reject the discounts, and walk through life with a lightness that terrifies those who are anchored by 1,000 tiny obligations. When you owe nothing, you can do anything. If you're ready to cut the strings of social debt and reclaim your autonomy, hit subscribe. Next, we move to Phase 3. Phase 3. The producer's trance escaping the sheep pen. Shift from a consumer of dopamine to a supplier of addictions. The economy is a farm, and most people are born into the livestock pens. From the moment you wake up, you are being harvested. You are fed a steady diet of dopamine, fear, and manufactured desire to keep you docile and predictable. You spend your life force, your time, and your money chasing the momentary hits of comfort provided by the farmers who own the land. Every time you scroll through a feed, buy a branded coffee, or binge through a digital series, you are being sheared for your data and milked for your capital. You have been trained to be a good consumer, which is simply a polite term for a well-behaved sheep. To enter the Machiavellian elite, you must undergo a violent psychological shift. You must snap out of the consumer's trance and enter the producer's state of mind. This requires a cold detachment from your own cravings. You must stop asking, "What do I want to buy?" and start analyzing, "What are they desperate to have?" You must look at the world not through the eyes of the hungry, but through the eyes of the chef. When you see a crowd lining up for a new product, do not join them. Stand across the street and study the marketing funnel that led them there. Analyze the addiction. The producer understands that wealth is a massive transfer of energy from the passive to the active. While the masses are losing their minds over the latest political drama or entertainment scandal, the producer is looking for the pain point inside that chaos. Are they afraid? Sell them security. Are they bored? Sell them a distraction. Are they lonely? Sell them a tribe. Do not judge human nature for its flaws. Exploit those flaws. Machiavelli never argued with the wind. He simply adjusted the sails to catch it. To be a good person is often to be a moralist who goes broke trying to sell vegetables to people who only want candy. The producer accepts the world as a marketplace of sinners and provides the candy, perhaps hiding a vitamin inside, but always securing the profit first. This shift will cost you your innocence. You will stop enjoying things the way you once did. You will look at a luxury car and see a depreciating asset designed to exploit the owner's insecurity. You will look at a free app and see a digital trap designed to harvest human attention. You will lose the ability to be a mindless member of the herd, but in return, you will gain the vision of the architect. You become the one who builds the fence, not the one kept inside it. You stop being the resource and start being the miner. If you're ready to stop being the harvest and start being the farmer, hit subscribe. Next, we enter phase 4, emotional alchemy. How to stop protecting your pennies and start firing them like ammunition. Shall we proceed? Phase 4. Emotional alchemy overriding loss aversion. Stop treating money as a security blanket. Treat it as ammunition. Your biology is wired to keep you poor. Evolution has spent millions of years perfecting a mechanism called loss aversion, a psychological glitch that makes the pain of losing $100 feel twice as intense as the joy of gaining it. This is why you stay small. You are playing a game of permanent defense, clutching your savings like a security blanket, terrified that if you let go, you will freeze. But in the Machiavellian arena, money held out of fear is dead weight. It is not a shield to hide behind. It is ammunition to be fired. To master the art of emotional alchemy, you must desensitize yourself to the sensation of the spend. Most people treat their bank account as a scorecard of their safety. When the number goes down, their heart rate goes up. They are emotionally tethered to their capital. The strategist, however, views money as a tool of war. A soldier does not weep when he fires a bullet. He understands that the bullet is the price of hitting the target. If you are too afraid to lose the bullet, you will never take the shot. And the enemy, inflation, stagnation, and irrelevance, will eventually overrun your position anyway. You must develop a financial callus. The first time you invest in a skill, an ad campaign, or a venture, and it fails to yield a return, it will burn. You will feel sick. Good. That is the feeling of your old consumer-grade ego dying. The 10th time it happens, it is no longer a tragedy. It is simply data. You realize that losing money is often just the tuition you pay to the market for a lesson you couldn't learn any other way. The outlier asks, "What if I risk this and lose?" While the elite asks, "What if I keep this and nothing changes?" The second scenario is the true catastrophe. Stop treating your capital as a hoard of acorns to be guarded through a winter that never ends. Start treating it as energy meant for deployment. When you spend money on your own growth, your brain is forced to justify the expense, creating a psychological urgency that the safe person never feels. You are not losing money. You are converting it into a higher form of power. By the time the world realizes you've been firing your ammunition, you will have already captured the high ground. If you cannot sleep because your portfolio dropped 5%, you are still a child seeking a mother's protection. Grow up. The market rewards conviction, not caution. If you're ready to stop guarding your prison and start funding your conquest, hit subscribe. Next, we move to phase tone. Phrase 5. The asymmetry of silence. Why the loudest person in the room is usually the weakest. Shall we continue? In the age of digital vanity, silence is the ultimate luxury and the ultimate weapon. We live in an era of the loud, a culture of rented Lamborghinis and watch-me-make $10,000 a day gurus who scream for attention like colorful pheasants in an open field. They are bright, they are noisy, and they are incredibly easy targets for the hunter. Machiavelli advised the prince to appear virtuous and religious while performing the dark work in the shadows. In the modern economy, this translates to the doctrine of stealth wealth. The goal is not to look rich, but to be rich and look dangerous. When you flash your money, you trigger two destructive forces: envy and compliance. Envy invites predators. The moment you signal your status, you invite the tax man to look closer, the fake friend to ask for a loan, and the scammer to mark your door. Compliance is even deadlier. It is the addiction to the image. Once you start leasing the car to maintain the facade, you have built a golden cage. You have raised your cost of living to satisfy the expectations of people who don't actually like you. You have traded your war chest for a costume. The Machiavellian move is to become the gray man. This is the predator who moves through the crowd undetected because he refuses to signal his power. He wears simple clothes, drives an average car, and speaks less than he listens. This creates a massive informational asymmetry. When people think you are average, they speak freely around you. They reveal their secrets, their weaknesses, and their plans because they don't feel the need to impress you or the threat of your competition. You are gathering intelligence while they are busy performing. Living below your means while earning above your dreams creates a psychological nuclear weapon, the walk-away fund. When you have 6 figures in liquid cash that no one knows about, you enter every negotiation with total authority. You don't need the deal, you don't need the job, and you certainly don't need the bank's approval. You possess a posture that no designer suit can replicate. True power is the ability to disappear, to leave the room, and to owe no man an explanation for your movements. Let the fools compete for the loudest car. You are competing for the quietest freedom. You are the tiger in the tall grass, silent, camouflaged, and invisible until it is far too late for the herd to react. If you're ready to stop performing for the crowd and start building in the dark, hit subscribe. Next, we enter phase 6, exploiting predictability. How to stop inventing and start monetizing the errors of human nature. Shall we proceed? Phrase 6. Exploiting predictability. The algorithm of humans. Don't sell what people should want. Sell what they desperately fear. Most entrepreneurs fail because they are narcissists. They try to be the genius who invents something entirely new, fueled by the ego-driven desire to change the world or make people better than they are. This is a strategic blunder. The Machiavellian architect knows that human nature is a fixed, ancient algorithm, and trying to rewrite it is a fool's errand. You do not win by trying to sell people what they should want: virtue, discipline, or long-term health. You win by identifying what they already desperately fear and offering them a temporary shield. Machiavelli understood that men are driven by two principal impulses: fear and greed. If you understand these triggers, you can predict behavior with mathematical precision. And if you can predict behavior, you can monetize it. While the good person is busy being a moralist, trying to sell vegetables to a crowd that wants candy, the strategist is analyzing the specific type of candy the crowd is addicted to. They aren't selling lipstick. They are selling a cure for the fear of being unloved. They aren't selling gym memberships. They are selling an escape from the fear of irrelevance. Stop looking at products and start looking at pain. When you see a man buying a luxury watch he cannot afford, do not mock his financial illiteracy. Analyze his desperation. He is buying a shield against insignificance. He is terrified of being overlooked in a world that only rewards the visible. If you can bottle that sense of significance and sell it back to him, you will be wealthy. This sounds cynical because it is, but the market is not a church. It is a psychological exchange. You are not taking advantage of people. You are servicing the needs they whisper to Google at 3 a.m, the insecurities they hide even from their own mirrors. Become a student of human desperation. Read the angry comments on viral videos, study the one-star reviews of your competitors, and listen to the complaints people make when they think no one is watching. In that mud, you will find gold. I hate how complicated this is an invitation to sell simplicity. I feel like I'm falling behind is an invitation to sell speed. Do not try to educate the market or raise its moral standard. Accept human nature in all its vanity, fear, and laziness. Sell the candy, capture the profit, and leave the moralizing to the people who are too busy being right to ever be rich. If you're ready to stop arguing with the market and start mastering it, hit subscribe. Next, we move to Phase 7, the mercenary principle. How to stop working for money and start renting the dreams of others. Shall we continue? Phase 7. The mercenary principle, the leverage of dreams. How to rent the time and talent of others without relying on loyalty. You cannot get rich with your own two hands. You are limited by the 24 hours in your day and the biological ceiling of your own exhaustion. To break the sound barrier of wealth, you must understand the mercenary principle. People are not your friends or your family. They are the levers you use to move the world. Machiavelli warned that relying on the loyalty of others is a death sentence for a prince. Loyalty is a fickle emotional currency that evaporates the moment a better offer appears. To build an empire, you must stop seeking loyalty and start managing incentives. The brutal truth of employment is that a job is a bribe. It is a transaction where a person sells their time and their dreams for a monthly fee of safety. They want stability. You want scale. You must become the architect who designs the system while renting the talent of others to fill the trench. Do not feel guilty about this. Without your structure, their talent has no direction. Without your risk, their labor has no market. However, you must align their greed with your growth. If you want them to bleed for your vision, you must make it profitable for them to do so. Give them a stake, a commission, or a bonus that makes your success their necessity. But never give them the keys to the castle. Maintain the moat of information asymmetry. If your employees can walk away and replicate your business tomorrow, you don't own a company. You are being held hostage. Compartmentalize. The soldier sees the trench. The general sees the battlefield. But only you see the map. Use the leverage of their dreams to fuel your reality, but always remain the only person who is truly indispensable to the machine. If you're ready to stop being the engine and start being the driver, hit subscribe. Next, we reach Phase 8, Killing the Judge. How to destroy the belief in fairness and finally take what is yours. Shall we proceed? Phase 8. Killing the Judge, the climax. Destroying the belief in fairness. The market rewards value, not effort. The single greatest barrier between you and a fortune is the ghost of a school teacher living in your head. You are still waiting for a referee to blow a whistle and penalize the person who cheated, the person who had rich parents, or the person who is less qualified than you but earns 10 times your salary. You are trapped in the fairness fallacy. This is a mental prison designed by the weak to shackle the strong, a way to claim moral victory while suffering defeat in reality. If you want to move into the elite, you must execute the judge in your mind. The universe is vast, cold, and mathematically indifferent. It does not keep a scorecard of your goodness or your hours of sweat. The market is not a church. It is a giant scale that weighs one thing and one thing only: value. If you spend 20 hours digging a hole with a spoon and filling it back up, you have worked hard. You have sacrificed. You have shown grit, but you have created zero value, and the market rewards you with exactly $0. Conversely, if a strategist writes 3 lines of code in 10 minutes that saves a corporation $10 million, he has created immense value. The fact that it was easy for him is irrelevant. He is being paid for the 10 years of dark study it took him to know which 3 lines to write. Stop resenting the unfair advantage and start becoming one. The rich do not trade time for money. They trade solutions for capital. They do not ask what they deserve. They ask what they can control. Kill the belief that the world owes you a reward for your effort. The world owes you nothing but the opportunity to be smarter than your competition. If you're ready to stop complaining about the rules and start writing them, hit subscribe. Finally, we reach Phase 9, the new architect, the final transformation. Shall we finish the journey? Phase 9. The new architect transformation. The viewer accepts the price of the crown and enters the world of strategic power. You have reached the end of your conditioning. The good person you were when this journey began has been hollowed out, replaced by something far more dangerous: a strategic architect. You now understand that wealth is not a trophy for your virtue, but a byproduct of your geometry. You stop looking for luck because you are too busy designing the systems that make luck inevitable. You have shed the need for social validation, like a snake shedding dead skin, realizing that the applause of the herd is just the noise of the livestock being led to the shearer. Transformation is not a change in what you do. It is a change in what you are. You no longer view a dollar as a piece of paper to be saved, but as a soldier to be deployed. You no longer act a relationship as a social obligation, but as a bridge or a barrier. This emotional coldness isn't cruelty. It is clarity. It is the silence of the tiger in the tall grass, the stillness of the architect over the blueprints of a city yet to be built. You have moved from the consumer of dopamine to the master of necessity. The world will try to pull you back. They will call you cynical, cold, or changed. They will try to guilt you with the old rules of fairness and morality that kept you small. Let them. Their judgment is the tax they pay for their own predictability. You are no longer playing their game. You are the one who designs the chessboard. You have seen the strings, and you can never go back to being a puppet. You are the architect now. The only question left is, what will you build? The transition is complete. If you are ready to command your reality instead of begging for it, hit subscribe. The inner circle is waiting. Welcome to the world of power.